golf club for 26 years, and Jill was actually on the selection committee when I was hired, so she made one mistake. Anyway, she's been a great friend ever since. It is a thrill to be here at Club of Renaissance. I've heard so much about the club from Tom and Jill since they've been a member here 8 years ago. It's a fantastic golf course. Got to play here the last couple of days. It's awesome. Facilities, as you see, are terrific. Outstanding staff. But most importantly, they have the friendliest members, Tom. You're right. They're awesome. Jill and Tom celebrated their 50th anniversary earlier this year in August. And 46 members from this club made the trip to Iowa. From all around the country, not just from Florida, but they traveled to Burlington. That's quite a tribute. Also, it's just great to see so many Burlington Golf Club members here too. It's really awesome to have you here. There's quite a few. And it's true, the Hawkeye supporters do travel well, don't they? I was very excited. Chad called me back in early January, wanted me to join in a phone conversation to inform Jill on her election. And I knew Jill was very anxious. She wanted to get in. I know she was very, really wishing for that. And I was so happy I was able to share in that moment. I'm also extremely honored she asked me to do the introduction tonight. Jill did not start golf at an early age. She was a great athlete, always a great athlete, and a tremendous competitor, as you probably already know. She excelled at tennis growing up. She played #1 at Iowa, University of Iowa, #1 in tennis, singles, and #1 in doubles. Of course, her studies, she was a PE major, and part of those requirements is she had to take the golf class. That didn't go very well. One of the requirements to pass the test, she had to get one shot in the air, 100 yards, with any club. Her proficiency level was so low, she had to take a mulligan and retake the class. Soon after that, she knew she would have to take up golf, because she and Tom were going to be a couple. Tom showed her how to grip the club and step to the ball so she wouldn't embarrass herself. But after slow progress, club member and Iowa Golf Hall of Famer Betty T suggested Jill take formal lessons from the current BGC pro. As luck would have it, another Hall of Famer, Iowa Golf Hall of Famer, was the head pro at the time, Joe Butler. Jill began to improve and fell in love with the game. She would never know how far this game would take her. One of Jill's earliest successes is that of the girls' golf coach at Burlington High School. She led the team from 1977 to 1982. One of her proudest moments was when the 1980 team won Burlington's only state championship. Team member Janet Berry wrote her letter of recommendation for Jill. As my coach, Jill taught my team and myself the rules of golf, how to play with integrity, and how to compete. She held her teams to very high standards, both on and off the golf course. Through the game of golf, she taught us multiple life lessons and challenged us to set goals and to put in the time to achieve those. Janet and Jill have remained very close friends. They regularly would play in the ladies' guest invitational at our club. I think in the 20 years they played, they won 18 times. Finished in second the other 2 years. As a player, Jill dominated local golf. Among her many men's, this gets a little monotonous, I apologize. She was a BGC Women's Club champion in 5 different decades. That's pretty cool. She won the Burlington Women's City multiple times. She was Southeast Iowa Women's Amateur Champion. She started playing the Forever 39 Championship in 1986. She made it to the finals of match play that first year, won the first 4 holes of the championship match, lost the next 5 to lose.
Oh, no.
She would end up the runner-up, and she would also finish runner-up 3 more times in the championship. She won the Iowa Senior Women's Championship and also the Iowa Women's Super Senior Championship. At the 2012 Women's State Am at Des Moines Golf, she captured the regular division championship, which basically is everyone that's now a college student. She won that, and she actually shot around 172 on a very difficult course in the second round. Pretty impressive. Since moving down here to Florida, Jill's won the Ben Robin Championship at the Hard Hall Invitational in Sebring. And she won, she's very proud, she won the Women's Club Championship here at Renaissance in 2012, excuse me. And I remember she sent me a picture of her sign where she gets her parking space there. Pretty proud of that. And even as recently as 2017, Jill won the Women's Senior Club Championship here at the Club of Renaissance. Jill and Tom twice won the Iowa State Wife-Husband Championship, 24 years apart. First, they won at the Brooks Golf Course in Okoboji in 1982, then at their home course at Burlington Golf Club in 2006. They were also runners-up on 3 different occasions. If you're going to win the state Wife-Husband, you had to beat Blackwood. Simple as that. Jill also won 3 BGC teams to the Iowa Women's Golf Association State Team Championship. Nationally, Jill qualified for the United States Golf Association Senior Women's Championship in both 1998 and 2000. And if you qualify to play at any USGA event, you are a player. She represented Iowa also in the USGA State Team Competition in 1997-1988. As impressive as Jill's playing career is her work as a volunteer that really sets her apart. In our club directory, it lists her occupation as volunteer. How very appropriate. This lady kept busy. She spent most of her adult life volunteering for a wide variety of worthy causes. She was heavily involved in Girl Scouts, first as a group leader, then as a council president, and finally as a council trainer for the Girl Scouts of America. As a testament to Jill's commitment to the local community, Jill was honored as Burlington's first woman of distinction in 2001. For the last 30 years, Jill's focus has been on golf. For over 30 years, she helped with the junior golf program at Burlington Golf Club, several years as the chairperson. Since 2003, she and good friend Judy McCarty have been co-directors of a charity golf event in Naples, Play for Paint, fundraiser that's for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Several of our Iowans have supported this event, and many of those ladies are in attendance tonight. Beginning in 1984, her attention was focused on her many roles for the Iowa Women's Golf Association. Her main concern was to promote the game of golf for the Iowa's many women golfers. When it comes to contributing to the Iowa Women's Golf Association, it'd be difficult to find anyone who's done more for the association. After serving locally for the District 15 chairperson from 85 to 82, Jill was asked to serve on the Iowa Women's Golf Association Board of Directors. Her many roles with the IGA included, and this gets along too, course rater 91 to 98, director of the Iowa Women's Amateur for 8 years, director of the Iowa Senior Women's Amateur for 4 years, and site committee chair for 8 years. She was vice president at IWGA from 1998 to 2002, before finally becoming president from 2002 to 2005. When the IGA merged with the IWGA merged with the IGA, she continued her service by serving on many committees. She served on the Ann Griffel Scholarship Committee since 2008, Herman Sandy Scholarship Committee for several years, the Iowa Golf Hall of Fame Committee for 2006 through 2011, and the Iowa Golf Association Women's Rules and Competition Committee since 2008. In 2014, Jill was awarded the George Turner Distinguished Service Award for a lifetime service to golf by the Iowa Golf Association. Pretty impressive. Excuse me. Jill was the director of the Iowa Wife-Husband Championship, hosted at her home club in Burlington for 13 years. She treated every contestant as if they were her guests, because they were at her club. She was, of course, from daylight to sunset. She checked the hole placements, the tee placements, and making sure everything was ready. She was, without a doubt, the most organized person I've ever worked with. She also was in charge of the 2017 Solheim Cup volunteers of our club, which she did pretty much everything there. The club members were marshals on hole number 2. She contacted all the club members to volunteer. She rounded up their sizes for uniforms, ordered the uniforms, and she was just outstanding. Of course, the tournament went over without any hitches. Tom and Jill, I think, spent 4 days up there watching the tournament and working. It was really great. All right, so Jill, she's been active in every facet of golf: player, administrator, coach, and fundraiser. Organizational skills, passion for golf, determination to teach others, while handling herself with class, without the thought of herself, makes her deserving of this induction. What's most remarkable is her ability to be so successful in everything that she did, while also being a successful businesswoman, wife to Tom, mother to Julie and Amy, and grandmother to Kingston, Ethan, Abby, and Avery. Jill took a lot of lessons from me over the years. she was always an easy fix. Usually she needed to tweak her grip, her alignment would get a little off, or she was swinging too hard trying to squeeze a couple extra yards out of that driver. She never seemed to hit that many balls during her lessons. Mostly, we just visited and talked. Then she'd pay me usually with a tip. So. Former BGC golf professional and 2008 PGA National Golf Professional of the Year, and good friend Jock Olson could not attend tonight, but he asked me to read this letter. This is from Jock. Jill Blackwood was such a good friend to Sherry and me over the past 43 years. She was so talented as a player and driven as a volunteer. She was definitely left the game better for all of us, especially in Burlington and the state of Iowa. It is an honor for me to be joined in the Iowa Golf Hall of Fame by one of the most amazing women I've ever had the honor to work with during my career, Jill Blackwood. She, along with Betty T, were dynamos in the game. I can't believe there's any PGA professional anywhere that has as fortunate to have known and worked with two legends like Jill and Betty. Sherry and I send our thoughts and congratulations to Tom, Julie, Amy, and their families on this very special, very deserved occasion. Rest in peace, Jill, and don't forget to let Betty know about the changes in the rules of golf. Respected by all she came in contact, whether it be all the junior golfers she touched, fellow competitors, golf partners, fellow club members, employees of Sterling's, and all the committee and board members she served with. And all of her friends, and Jill had a lot of friends. But respect isn't given to anyone, it must be earned. And Jill earned that respect from everyone. She's also earned her membership in the Iowa Golf Hall of Fame. At this time, please join me in welcoming Jill Blackwood into the Iowa Golf Hall of Fame, accepting on Jill's behalf his husband Tom Blackwood, daughter Julie Totten, and daughter Amy Smith. Congratulations.
I'm going to try to get through this. Dad wrote this. We very humbly accept this award on behalf of my mother, Jill. She proved her talent in competition time and time again. Dad especially remembers countless quality shots and putts she made when they were playing in the BGC Couples Championship and in the State Wife-Husband Championship to cover those mistakes he made. In reality, volunteering her time was her passion. Mom's devotion to the game of golf was incredibly strong. Sorry. Her passing is a loss for all, and we can't say enough how much we appreciate each and every one of you for being here today to celebrate. This really is a celebration. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I'm just so proud. Just so proud.
Jill did not serve to be recognized. She served because she was a servant. I mean, she had a servant's heart. But one of her favorite activities was being a grandma. She loved taking her grandkids to junior golf and then hanging out at the pool in the afternoon. She loved taking them to Jamaica or just hanging out here in the pool in Florida. Kingston and Ethan and Avery and Abby, they loved their grandma, and they are going to miss her. Jill was the type of grandma, and back in Iowa right now, we are getting absolutely pounded with snow. And when no other adult in the house would go out and play in the snow, Jill would be the one who would go out and make snow angels with the kids. That's the way she was. Jill had just an absolute incredible impact on my life. From my youth to my adulthood, I have sought her counsel and I cherished her praise. Jill always had my back. When I was dating my husband years ago, this is a true story. I mean, she pulled him aside and said, listen, if you don't treat her right, you will answer to me. And thank goodness he has. If you were on Team Jill. This is Team Jill right here. You were lucky. After Jill's passing, several of my former teammates from high school, we reconnected on Facebook, and we all said, wow, we were so lucky to have her influence. Tom, you and Jill built a hell of a life. For over 50 years, you were partners. You were partner in business, on the golf course, and just in that thing called life. You got these two beautiful children to show for it. I know she was the love of your life. She was your rock. You were a better man because of her. But you know what, Tom? You loved her down the stretch, and you cared for her. And I just heard last night he was making her deviled eggs. I can't picture, if I would have known Tom Blackwood was making deviled eggs. But she so appreciated that. She truly did. And you did great, Piper. Julie and Amy, I have watched you grow up, and your mom's passing is going to leave a void in your life. We can't even pretend that it won't. But that void is filled with memories and love. And never doubt for 1 second how proud she is of you. She loved talking about you. She loved talking about your accomplishments. I know you knew your mom for a long time, and there was very few times that I really saw her cry. But every time in these last few months when she talked about how you were there every step of the way, making endless fights for the Midwest, she was so proud of that. You gave your mom the greatest gift you could ever give anybody, your time and your endless love. As Jill and I said our final goodbyes, she said, I don't know if I will ever see you again. I said, oh yeah, you will. If you don't see me here, I'll see you upstairs. And of course she said, well, I hope there's some really good golf courses in there. It is my hope that Jill is reunited with her parents, Dutch and Billy. And I guarantee you she's up there organizing a game. Thanks, Coach, for being my hero and for always believing in me.
It's nice to be here among friends and to be able to share about Jill. We all have heard about Jill's remarkable career as a golfer and a golf mentor, but there was so much more to Jill than golf. She was a tremendous human being, a tremendous community servant, and I hope to share with you in just a few minutes here that we have a little bit about that woman that I knew. Jill was as good a friend as I'll ever have in my life, and so I miss her. But I want you to know something about Jill that you may not have known if you just knew her as a golfer. Probably 25 years ago, Jill said to me, you know, you're going to do my eulogy. And I said, yeah, sure, right. But you know, if you knew Mrs. Blackwood and you made a commitment to her, there's no going back on it. So here I am today fulfilling that obligation. I'm just so sad that I have to do it as soon as I am. And as I start today, I have to be completely honest with you that I'm just plain ticked off that she's died and that she's left us. But we haven't really lost her, because if you had Jill as a part of your life, she made an impact on you that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. That's a good, positive influence and impact. And we also have to remember that Jill would be very disappointed if we had let her passing in some way slow us down or keep us from moving forward to live energized, productive lives. One of the greatest tributes that we can give to a woman of the caliber that Jill was is to learn from her example and to live life to its fullest each and every day. That's what we have to remember. For these past 3 years that she had cancer, she didn't die of cancer. She lived with cancer, and she lived big. We've heard that Jill was a brilliant role model in golf, but she was a brilliant role model in life. And we have proof of her greatest success as a role model with Julie and Amy sitting here right in front of us. The families that Julie and Amy have built with Matt and Kevin, and the women that they are in their communities and their work, comes right directly from Jill. What they are today is based upon the example that their mother set for them as to what a loving, strong, principled, giving woman should be. And as Janet said, and I want to echo it, Julie and Amy demonstrated the best of those qualities these last few months with the sacrifices and the devotion they showed to be a comfort to their mom and their dad. There's no question that they appreciated it, both of them. And it's no question that made what's happened the last few months more bearable for both Tom and Jill. But Jill was a role model for so many other people. She was in community organizations in Burlington that many of you folks here in Florida may not recognize. She was president of the Girl Scout Council. That's really how we became friends. She drugged me in like so many people she would drag into her activities. She was president. She also traveled the country training other Girl Scout councils. She was a national volunteer that went from Alaska to Florida to Niagara Falls to California, teaching Girl Scout councils how to do their business and also how to raise money. She was a hell of a fundraiser. It was hard to say no to that woman when she was asking you for money. She served also as a troop leader for Amy and Julie's troops, so they have a troop. She raised money locally and also organized for the local YWCA and the Battered Women's Shelter. She served in the local PTO. She was in the Hawkeye Women's Advisory Council at the U of I, and she was a faithful member of the King's Daughters. She was a role model and a mentor for all those folks that she touched in those various organizations. I know that she took pride in those impacts that she had on people. She had reason to be proud of all that she did in those organizations because she showed all of us that ever worked with her the value of if you're going to do it right. Don't do it halfway. But I think the greatest example that she set for any of us that served with her or participated with her in any organization or activity was her sound moral compass. As we've heard, golf is a game of honor. But Jill didn't just play golf with honor, she lived her life with honor. Everything she did was solid. Her word was golden. Her level of integrity couldn't help but rub off on you if you had enough in contact with her. And she was honest about herself too. She was genuine. She was 100% what she was. There were no pretenses about Mrs. Blackwood. What you saw was what you got. And Jill was a born leader. As we know, she was an absolutely take charge kind of woman. She volunteered her time and her soul to the Girl Scouts and to the IWGA. But as in everything in her life, she didn't do it halfway. She put full measure into all those tasks. And what made her a great leader in those organizations was that she was never a figurehead. She was a person who did the nitty-gritty work. She didn't start at the top. She'd been doing the nuts and bolts. She was a Girl Scout leader before she became the president of the council. She and Judy ran golf tournaments and did course ratings across the state of Iowa before she became the president of IWGA. She was a nuts and bolts, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty kind of volunteer. And she always, consequently, could expect more from herself than she did anyone else because she knew how the job should be done, and so she could do all the jobs she ever asked any of us to do. One of the greatest benefits that came to Jill, I believe, from all of her volunteering were the friends that she made along the way. And if you were Jill's friend, and it's genuinely rewarding to see all you folks here today to show what friends Jill had all over the country. You knew you were her friend because she made an investment of herself in her friends. Whether you were her neighbor, one of the RBs that she traveled the country playing golf with, and because the pastor is not here like she was at the funeral, I can say one of those rich bitches that she traveled the country playing golf with. Or one of the friends she made playing golf at one of her golf clubs, playing cards with her friends, teaching her friends to play cards, an employee or co-worker with her at Sturzing's, or someone she'd known for more than 50 years. You knew that she genuinely cared about you. She knew that she wanted to make sure that she did what she could to help you, and that she wanted to be involved in what was going on in your life. It wasn't superficial. She wasn't, my mom used to talk about there are show horses and there are workhorses. And I love Jill Blackwood because she was a workhorse. There was no show about her. She was 100% what you wanted to have her do. But as I say those things, we also know Jill liked to have fun. She loved to laugh. She loved to make people laugh. She loved to drink a little Jim Beam. She loved to dance. She liked to travel. She liked to do new and exciting things. Some of you may not know it, but Amy went to college in way northwest Iowa, where Janet lives now in Storm Lake, which was hours from Burlington. So Jill thought, you know, I'm not going to drive all the way up there to see her play volleyball. I'm going to get a pilot's license. So Jill got a pilot's license. And we would go up and have lunch with Amy in Storm Lake. You know, it was amazing. Or, because I was going to maybe marry Matt and Julie in Florida, and the law didn't say a judge from Iowa could do a marriage in Florida, but if you became an online minister, you could marry anybody anywhere. I said, Jill, I am not going to become a freaking online minister. She said, I'll do it first. So Jill and I became online ministers.
So Matt needed to get married in Florida.
And then you also have to remember, some of you didn't know, she cut her fingers off mowing the lawnmower. She mowed in the yard one day, stuck her hand in the lawnmower, cut them off. The part of this story is that she then learned to play the organ as an adult so that she had therapy to make her fingers work. But my favorite part of that story about cutting her fingers off is Julie was a little girl at home. Amy was just tiny. So Jill cuts her fingers off, mowing the yard. She goes to the side door and says, Julie, call your dad at work. I think I've cut my fingers off. She then goes and lays down on the driveway so that she won't bleed on the house. In the driveway waiting for toddlers. So there you go. So, but that's the kind of Jill person was. I mean, gung-ho for everything. Earlier I mentioned that Jill had some great successes, and I think that, you know, I truly believe that Jill's biggest success in her heart was her enduring romance that she had with Tom for more than 50 years. She often would say how thankful she was to have Tom to share her successes, her losses, her joys, and her sorrows. And she often gave him credit for being her biggest cheerleader. She was also the reason that he was also the reason she believed she had time to do her volunteer activities. She was thankful that he encouraged her to dream big, to push boundaries, to keep going. Tom was her champion, and she knew it. A little over 10 years ago, at their 40th wedding anniversary, Jill said to me, I always knew I'd live to be 61, which is what she was at the time, but I didn't always know I'd live and have a marriage of 40 years. It is the greatest gift that I have in my life at this point in time, that Tom and I have been married this many years. And as we all know, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary last summer with a tremendous party that so many of you from Renaissance joined us in Iowa for. And I will always be thankful for some of those memories, including dressing her in the bathroom and getting her in her wedding dress that she wore 50 years before. But just like planning that party, which she did a great job on and that she really put her soul into to making it a wonderful event and having made sure everybody had fun, we know Jill liked to be in control. And that was one of the awful things about the cancer, that hard work and determination would not be enough to beat that challenge. But Jill did not want to get to the point that she really wasn't living. She and I both shared the passing of our parents, so we had many conversations about death and what the next life would be like. And we both knew and acknowledged to one another that sometimes death could be welcome. So I had to think that at the time her body became beat down and it wasn't going to serve her anymore, Jill had some conversations with the good Lord about how she was going to pass from this life. And knowing my friend Jill, I truly believe that she had some input on that, because she would have chosen to leave this life, passing peacefully in her sleep, next to the man that she loved for more than 50 years. And so she did. It was a gift, but I think Jill had some doing with it. I've heard it said that grief is the price you pay for love. And I know that it hurts today, and it will hurt for a while to come, but I think that grief is well worth the love and affection that Jill has given us. Jill, I say thank you.